All right, we got the door frame, jamb rather, all mocked up. I went ahead and ordered these jamb hinges, hidden hinges. I ordered the hardware for routering it out, which I'll explain how I don't like it. And these are the directions. So if you have no basic knowledge of working with wood, this might be difficult. For one, these came with a little ear on them for an 1 3/8" door. I'm using an 1 3/4" door. So I had to modify that to start. And then I put some center lines on so I could lay it out. These will get screwed in. And then you're gonna adjust the router to the depth of the gauge they show. And then you'll router that out. The second step is to take this and slide it into said groove that you make. And then they have you adjust the router bit to this dimension. Well, with that size bit that works for the other side, it does not work for this template. So I'm gonna forego that and try to drill a hole to the right depth, and we'll see how it works. Okay, so that is routed out, clean. Keep in mind, I'm keeping the direction. This is where the door stop's gonna be. And obviously this door jamb is way thinner than a normal door jamb typically, but that's because I'm doing something different. And I will show that later on. Okay, now I set this on, get it to fit, which is damn near perfect fit, as it should be. Okay, like I said, they want you to readjust the depth, but with that size bit, it doesn't work. And with the short bit, I'd have to extend it way far out. So what I'm gonna try to do now is put this Forstner bit in there, get it all mocked up, and do it that way. Okay, so I'm gonna end up just routering this because I got no bite, but I need to change that out. But before I do that, I figured I would pre-drill these, then router this, same with the other one, then reconfigure everything and clean everything up. I would use my other trim router, but it's on my work truck, which isn't here. And in the corral, all I have is big routers. So it is what it is. All right, pre-drilled. Now we're gonna get this template mounted up, router it out, see how this technique works. Okay, I got this big heavy door laid down on my door jig. I used my reference point to figure out my first hinge location. And then I set all my centers. And then what I'm gonna do here is measure in between the hinges to make sure all that is accurate. And I'll start setting that up. Now note that my door is sitting in the different direction than my jamb is. that's because I want to use this side, my flush side for the door, to match up to this side, just for my preference of where I want to work from. So that is something you have to keep in mind if there's any discrepancies in jamb thickness. Obviously this is going to be centered, so it's not as critical. Okay, so I just set up a guide and did it much cleaner. This is the right depth here, and then I'm gonna have to plunge further for the next portion. Since I cut too much by default, now I'm gonna put a rib in there. Put a little radius on my scrap piece. That'll be it. Here's a pro tip. Always make sure you cut off the bottom and not the top. This one's a little easier to recognize, but I'd be lying if I would say I didn't make that mistake once. Also, always prime and paint your cuts, that way they don't wick up moisture. All the hinges are lined up. Just got to start sliding everything in. See how she works.